Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Run through the weather warnings, so we do have yellow and amber rain warnings issued for Scotland, but elsewhere, as we'll see on the latest UKV, it's pretty stunning, dry and summer-like, especially from all of England and Wales. In these regions, we're seeing temperatures in excess of 20 degrees quite widely, even towards 24 or 25 degrees this afternoon. Really quite warm and pleasant. But it's that dividing line further northwards where colder Atlantic and Arctic areas moving in. That's where we've got this heavier rain. So we'll see that on the latest UKV running through the next 5 days as the warmth and the heat is going to maintain itself all the way till really around Wednesday time, where it does get eventually swept away. And we'll look at the latest on the longer term at the GFS, GM, ECMWF and the Ensemble to see what they have in store as we do head in towards the middle of October. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see the big weather front we have further northwards. Now, looking at this, you'd think that this would be soon to clear. It doesn't look too large. It is a big area of rain, but it's not like we're seeing massive extensions out of the Atlantic where the general wind direction is coming from, or where at least the weather front should be moving. But the problem we've got is this weather front is pretty much stationary. It's not moving at all, and these darker greens and yellows, which is heavy rain, isn't moving, and it hasn't moved over the past 12 hours, and most likely won't move much over the next 12 hours or so. And this is why we've got multiple rain warnings issued for today and for tomorrow. But pretty much it's the Scottish border southwards. You can see it is dry and it's pretty stunning. Yes, some cloud around, but most areas are very dry and relatively warm this afternoon. You can see that with the oranges developing. Look at that temperature contrast for Scotland. Southern Scotland and Northern England, maybe into the mid to high teens. For Central Scotland and Northern Scotland, we're looking at high single digits at best, as that weather front does sit there. So massive contrast at the moment, and you can see much of England and Wales is very warm with temperatures into the low or mid 20s. What we'd expect for an average day in July or August, not what we'd expect as we head into the middle of October. As I said, it will last for much of the next sort of 3, 4, 5 days. So yeah, do make sure you go out and enjoy it. If you look at the weather warnings, you can see the rain warnings we have across Scotland, covering pretty much most of the country. We've got this large yellow rain warning that's issued until 6 AM tomorrow, so it should expire overnight tonight, but still got 12 hours plus of it running, and it has been updated this morning to extend it further southwards and westwards. And again, we could see 50 to 75 millimetres over high ground. We could see 100 to 120 millimetres, and then we have this amber warning, which hasn't been updated today, but again, 80 to 100 millimetres is expected. 150 to 180 millimetres is possible. And we have a new yellow rain warning issued from tonight at 9 PM until 2 PM tomorrow, as that weather front slowly shifts northwards. Exiting these areas, they've got the amber and yellow warning through the early hours of the morning, entering northern parts of Scotland, at least more than in the current capacity. And again, you could see 50 to 60 millimetres of additional rainfall here. And as we head into Sunday, we've got another red warning for northern and eastern Scotland, as said, as that weather front shifts northwards for most of tomorrow from 6 AM until 3 PM. And again, 20 to 30 millimetres widely, 40 to 50 millimetres in a few spots falling in that 6 to 9 hour period. If we do go back to the live radar, we can actually have a look at the estimated past 24-hour precipitation. We'll be able to see huge amounts of rainfall have fallen in these areas. Look at that already. Widely across Scotland, we've got yellow colours indicating at least 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. And again, in the amber warning zone, we're looking already at 3 or 4 inches, up towards 75 to 100 millimetres. And we're likely to see even more over the coming hours. You can see we did see a yellow warning issued for northwest England yesterday. These areas subsiding with the rainfall now, but again, you can see lots of rain fell there. So you can see the huge regional contrast, but in the areas we've got the warnings issued, insane amount of rainfall, and it's not over. We're probably about halfway through this rain event. So there could be substantial flooding, while the south basks in some late summer warmth. Now, if you go to the UKV, we'll be able to see the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, and you can see that rainfall just continuing over the coming hours. Through this evening, it should, and this afternoon, it should come lighter, but still persists, still totting up those rainfall amounts. Still could give another inch or two of rain in many areas, and eventually it does pep up overnight tonight into tomorrow, but further north as we see some really heavy rain, even heavier rain than we've got at the moment, but it is shifted further northwards. Again, will still cause issues, but luckily isn't falling onto the areas that are already under the amber warning, meaning it does spread out that rainfall a little bit more, maybe just about alleviating the impacts a tad, but still could be very significant. Now that rainfall eventually subsides through Sunday afternoon, and all areas by Sunday evening are dry with some dribs and drabs of remnants of cloud and rain around, but really nothing too bad. Into Monday, it's a pretty fine day for many, some high-level cloud around, but mostly a dry and warm day. Into Tuesday, though, we start to see the breakdown of the warm weather with heavy showers and some thunderstorms developing in the north and west as we see a cold front sweeping southwestwards and get some real big reinforcements of rainfall through the early hours of Monday, giving very heavy rain in places and eventually sweeping all that warmth away as we head into Thursday. And you can see that on the upper air temperatures here, we go from widely into the mid to high teens at 850 HPA through tomorrow afternoon, eventually slowly getting swept away by the cold front as we head into the early hours of Thursday. And quite cold actually arrives for Scotland. Don't think it's going to get as far south as southern England, but could give a frost across Scotland there as we head into the latter part of next working week. Now, if you look at the max temperatures, again, you can see this afternoon we're looking widely at the low to mid-20s, 23, 24 degrees, could be locally 25 or 26, and we'll have to wait till this evening to see those top temperatures. And you can see across Scotland, only 4 or 5 in some areas, really quite cold. Into Sunday, again, temperatures peaking around the low 20s to mid-20s, 23, 24, 25. Scotland is a little bit better, more around the 10 to 12 degree mark, as the rain does subside through the afternoon, allowing those temperatures to rise a little bit. So a bit of an improvement tomorrow, but still substantial rainfall to come between now and then. Finally, into Monday and the rest of the next working week, still 22, 23, 24 in the southeast, but further northwards and westwards, things are starting to cool down. By Tuesday, you can start to see the contrast even further. Scotland, Northern Ireland, mid to high teens at best, southeast 22 degrees, and then by Wednesday, massive contrast appear, 20 degrees in the southeast, low teens or high single digits in the north as that cold front sweeps in, and will be sweeping all of that warmth away by the early hours of Thursday, and many areas down towards the low single digits, and again could even be a sporadic frost as we head towards the end of next working week. So some big contrast coming up not only over the next couple of days, but as we head into next working week with that cold front sweeping in, giving heavy thundery rain in places, and then returning us to a fresher or even Arctic air mass by the end of next working week. Now, if you look at the latest GFS, you can see how that does progress over the next couple of weeks. Again, the high pressure is in control at the moment in the south, giving warm, dry conditions, but in the north, low pressure is moving in, and it will be further unsettled weather into next week, with weather fronts pushing in. Still could see high pressure hang around in the south at times, but generally the outlook is for changeable conditions with very much up and down air masses. You can see into the extended range, still some warmth appearing, but you can see across much of Europe it has disintegrated away, and the cold is building to our north, and again likely to bring us perhaps some cooler plunges as we do progress through the rest of October. But at this stage, nothing too major, but again could be cold enough for frosts in places. If you look at the latest GM, again, could see that northwesterly wind come in by Wednesday, Thursday, giving much fresher air, and generally in towards the day 10 period, looking a lot more unsettled. Again, could even see some quite cold air in for northern Scotland there. Again, could give a bit of a frost in places, and generally giving us quite a fresher Atlantic pattern as we head towards day 10. The ECMWF is fairly similar, southerly winds at the moment, eventually low pressure pushes in next week with that northwesterly breeze, dominates all the way towards day 10, and very similar to the GM, got a little bit of a ridge of higher pressure, but generally quite a strong westerly flow with fresher, colder Atlantic and Arctic air masses pushing in at times, giving us temperatures around 5 degrees below average for the time of year. Again, likely to see our first frosts in these sort of conditions. If you finally look at the ensembles, the latest GFS ensembles, you can see we are at the peak upper air temperatures at the moment as that air mass moves in, and it'll be slowly lowering over the next 5 days or so, but really only dropping by a degree or two per day, and at the surface still maintaining that warmth. So really, we're looking really quite fine and dry for the next 4 or 5 days, and eventually by early next week that rainfall will move in for all areas, and we will see lots of heavy showers, areas of rainfall, and eventually cooler temperatures will be coming in the longer range as we descend back towards the 1991-2020 mean for the upper air temperatures. The 2 meter temperatures are going to create an even bigger of a drop from low 20s, mid 20s at the moment, down towards the mid teens or low teens in around 7 to 10 days' time. And if we do actually compare it to Glasgow, you can see the huge amount of rainfall falling over the next couple of days, and then much more changeable pattern in the longer term. And getting closer to the Atlantic systems, meaning those air masses are going to be oscillating much faster and to a bigger extent than further southwards. And finally, if we just compare to the Eastern WF ensembles, pretty much the same. Very warm at the moment, slowly dropping over the next week or so. Heavy rain coming in by next Wednesday, Thursday, and then staying fairly unsettled and fairly changeable beyond that. So we've got massive contrast coming this weekend. We've got the last glimpses of summer for the south. We've got very heavy rain fueled by the temperature contrast in the north. And eventually, as we head into next week, we'll all be returning to autumnal conditions with areas of heavy rain around, showers, very changeable conditions, and even the potential for a few areas to see some initial signs of winter with some frosts, maybe even some wintry showers for parts of Scotland as those fresh Arctic air masses attempt to move in. But over the next 5 days or so, if you are in the north, especially across Scotland, things are looking better from Sunday afternoon, evening towards Monday. But in the meantime, the next 24 hours or so, do stay safe out there as the dangerous amount of rainfall could fall and has already fallen in many areas. So please do stay safe and don't do any unnecessary travel, and listen to, of course, all the warnings around, as it is a lot of rainfall falling at the moment. And if you are further southwards and fortunate to be in the very warm, dry air mass at the moment, do make sure you enjoy it. As I said in the last few videos, it's unlikely to see anything as good as this for at least another 5 or 6 months as we do descend in towards late autumn and in towards winter. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.